how news may be applied in trading. Hi, I'm your host Sabrine, and in today's video we're talking about news trading. But before we get started, make sure you have subscribed to the IQ Option YouTube channel with notification enabled. And don't forget to click that sign up link in the video description. Trading on a demo account of $10,000 in virtual funds, you can enhance your trading skills. Okay, let's dive in. One of the most popular trading methods is news trading. It is an essential element of fundamental analysis used by both long-term investors and day traders. News can fall into various categories: financial, economic, and political. Usually there is more predictability when it comes to economic and financial news, while uncertainty rises when politics comes into play. Why is economic and financial news more predictable? The thing is that the bulk of economic and financial news is scheduled reports. They are regularly released by official authorities and public traded companies. The latter are obliged to publish data on their financial performance in order to provide active investors with up-to-date information. Both governmental and corporate reports are planned and released according to a schedule. So, if you know when a certain report is to be published, and if you understand how it may affect a specific asset or assets, you may plan your trading activity in a more effective way and make informed decisions about the direction of the market. So, where you may find the shadows of economic and financial news? If you trade with IQ Option, you can get access to all scheduled reports in the market analysis section. The reports constitute the so-called economic calendar, if we speak about economic news, and the earnings calendar, if you would like to follow news from the corporate sector. Just switch between these tabs to select the calendar you need. Each report has a release date, coverage period, volatility index, and assets that may be affected by the reported figures. Usually, positive news drives the price of an asset up, while negative news may lead to a decline in price. But of course, this is just a general rule of thumb. Remember, there are always exceptions, since not all reports are of the same nature, so they may influence markets differently. Experienced traders know how various economic metrics may impact certain markets and assets. For example, the growth in the gross domestic product rate, GDP rate, relative to the previous value and forecast signals that a country's economy is performing well. In its turn, this may become an indicator of a strengthening local currency. And vice versa. If the GDP rate is lower than the forecast and the previous value, the currency in question usually gets weaker. There are some other economic parameters that traders usually keep track of. This, for instance, may be non-farm payrolls in the USA, the Fed's announcements about interest rates, the Consumer Price Index (CPI), employment reports, and etc. Some news falls into the category of unexpected or hardly expected. Unforeseen events are often associated with political instability or cataclysms. Let's take a look at some examples. On the 25th of February of 2022, the Russia-Ukraine conflict entered a military phase, and since that day, many markets have experienced much turbulence. This political news influenced financial markets all over the world. So what was happening in financial markets that day? Just a few headlines to mention. Crude oil surpassed $100 mark for the first time since 2014. Dow Jones lost more than 600 points. European stocks lost 3%. The German DAX index slid 4%. And the Russian ruble saw its all-time low against the USD, while the USD gained more than 10%. And even the situation in Asia-Pacific markets was somewhat muddled by the news coming from Ukraine. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index lost more than 3% on the 24th of February 2022. This is an example of how an unexpected political event shook up financial markets all over the world, that day, in some days and even weeks. Later, when some countries started imposing sanctions on Russia, certain traders had great opportunities to take advantage of falling markets by entering short positions or buying assets that were seeing a boost. Another example. The summer of 2022 brought the worst drought in at least 500 years to Europe, according to the European Union Joint Research Center. An expected 20 to 16% drop in yields of grain maize, soybeans, and sunflowers will most likely drive the prices of these commodities up. This example illustrates how natural disasters may affect commodity markets. Nonetheless, forecasts are not always a reliable indicator of future performance, so be careful. Some news may seem hard to predict, but if you monitor news feed regularly and learn to establish connections between some announcements and certain assets, over the course of time you can develop the skill of predicting major market moves. However, you should always keep in mind that the past performance is not an indicator of the future performance. Let's take another example. Every time Russia's energy company Gazprom suspends or cuts off gas supply to Europe, European gas prices rocket. For example, on the 31st of August of 2022, I came across this news headline: Nord Stream 1, Russia shuts major gas pipeline to Europe. Well, this news had an immediate effect. Gas prices in Europe rose by 5%, reaching $2,900 per thousand cubic meters. On the 5th of September of 2022, after Russia said one of its gas pipelines to Europe wouldn't reopen after maintenance, European gas prices surged over 30%, reaching the peak over the last 6 months and knocking the euro down to its 20-year low. Following such headlines and paying more attention to expert opinions may help you develop your flair for predicting some market moves. So, as we can see from the examples described, traders may take any turmoil in this trade. That is for us. That's all I have time for in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something new, or even if you just enjoyed my voice, it would mean a lot to me if you hit that like button below. If you like what you saw and you want to keep updated every time I upload a new video, go ahead and click that subscribe and notification bell as well. See you next time. Bye.